The next talk was, I wanted to go further in eye movements, in examination of eye movements, but with the idea to understand how it works at brain level and how you have to examine your patients to understand whether you have infranuclear, nuclear, internuclear, or supranuclear involvement of the eye movement pathways. So I just begin with some physiological aspects. So our eye movements serve to compensate for constraints of the organization of our visual system. They are there to help vision. But our visual system developed and somewhere they have some constraints. So the first one is that we developed binocular frontal vision. Okay, we are not temporal animals. We have a frontal vision. So we need to align the eyes and we need to move the eyes together. Okay, so at the brain level, just to move our eyes in the horizontal plane, so there is a small network that you have to know that comes from the abducens nucleus. I'm sorry for the French here in the figures. So abducens nucleus here is the beginning of the abducens nerve. So you have the innervations of lateral rectus on the same time. But from abducens nucleus, you also have an interneuron going through the medial longitudinal fasciculus to the other side, to the oculomotor nucleus, to innervate the medial rectus of the other side. Okay? So here you have the command to trigger both eyes looking to the right. Right abducens nucleus, both eyes look to the right. Okay, but there is another condition where you have to move your eyes together, but in opposite direction, which are the convergence system. So you look far and you look close. So you need to do some horizontal movements, but in opposite direction. And if we just look at convergence, here you need something, a command, which comes from this nucleus here. And this nucleus command convergence and just innervate both oculomotor nuclei for both medial recti. Okay? For upward gaze, it's a little bit tricky, but let's go in that. So it's just a figure that simplifies that. I would say, so let's say the upward gaze is just superior recti and downward gaze inferior recti. And here, at the level of the oculomotor nerve, you have a part of the oculomotor nerve that take care of downward gaze, so going to the inferior rectus, so here, and another part going to upward gaze and going to the superior rectus. But there is one exception in the central system. Usually, the innervation, so from one nucleus, you have one nerve going to the same side. Exception is the superior rectus. The superior rectus is innervated by neurons that come from the opposite oculomotor nucleus and that cross the midline and cross the other oculomotor nucleus. So it will be important in some central aspects. Okay. So the first constraint was that. Have your eyes aligned, move them together. And the second constraint is because we developed a foveal vision, which means we have a tubular vision. So we see with our fovea, with the rest of the retina, it's only big contrast, no color, nothing very much seen. So we need, and I will show you that, we need to move our eyes just to get visual informations in the visual scene. So if I'm, show you the fovea, but you know that. So if I'm here in this bucolic scene, and I just want to look at this flower, so my vision is that. I see the center of the flower, but everything else is just almost nothing. So if I want to have and to get information of what I'm seeing, I just have to move my eyes, so like that, and then like that, okay? So here I did some rapid eye movements, which I called saccades. And so saccades are there just to get different point of fixations in your visual environment. Okay, so you move your eyes with these rapid and quick eye movements. And at the anatomical level, you have specific organizations for the saccadic eye movements. So I don't want you to have these names in your brain, but you have here a nucleus, which is a pontine paramedian reticular formation, PPRF, which trigger horizontal saccades. And then he commands the abducens nucleus for the horizontal movement, okay? And you have the same for vertical saccades, close to the ocular motor nuclei. So here it's a rostral interstitial nucleus of the medial longitudinal fasciculus. You don't say that every day. And then this nuclei here just command vertical saccades, okay? And for vertical saccades, you have also some organization for upward saccades and downward saccades. And you just have to remember that the upward saccades, the network goes in this posterior commissure at brainstem level here. And you will see, because you will see patients with only upward saccades involvement. So the second constraint is that we need to perform eye movements to have these fixations in our environment. But the last constraint of a visual system, which is opposite to the precedent, is that if we want to have a good vision, we need some retinal stability. So we need to have our targets on the fovea and quite stable. Because if it's not stable, if it's moving, well, you see less. And if I go back to my frog that we found in our lake, so I foveate my prey, okay, and I want to get to my prey. So I will move in my environment to get this prey. If I don't have this last type of eye movements, I will do that. So I'm running. And if my eyes are moving with my head, the target is moving on my retina, it's defoveating, okay, and it's moving, you don't see anything. So we need eye movements that stabilize our eyes in space while we are moving. And it's the main objective of the vestibulo-ocular reflex, which comes from inner ear. And its aim objective is just to get some movement of the eyes in the orbits to compensate for movement of the head, so our eyes stay stable in the space and the vision stay stabilized. And I wanted to say that because finally, it's just I resume that, and we will go further in the examination. You have peripheral systems, so you ocular motor nerve, internuclear. Oh, sorry. And then you have a system for saccades, okay, and a system for what we call slow eye movements, mainly the vestibulo-ocular reflex. So when you want to examine patient eye movements, you have to do all these eye movements. First, saccades. So that's what I show here. So you ask the patient to look back and forth between two targets. Okay, you don't do that, okay? You put two targets and say right, left, F, up, down, up, down. So here you test rapid eye movements. Then you have to test smooth pursuit, and smooth pursuit is slow, okay? You have to ask him to follow your pen or your finger, okay? And then you test also the slow movement coming from the vestibular system mainly, but not all. So what we call oculocephalic reflex. Okay, so slowly. The patient has to just look at your pen or your nose, and you test that. And if you have horizontal palsy, always test the convergence here. Okay, so and I will show you cases. Each time I use these steps, saccades, smooth pursuit, oculocephalic reflex, and if needed, convergence. And the specificity of central ocular motor palsy, but you understand that usually it's binocular involvement, okay, because you have this organization with binocular command, except internuclear ophthalmoplegia. So patients usually don't complain of diplopia. You have horizontal or vertical gaze palsy, but not both of them, because one is at the pons level and the other one is organized at the mesencephalic level. And you will have dissociation between some eye movements involvements, for example, version movements versus vergence, or saccades versus the other slow eye movements. So that's why you have to test that. So let's begin with this case. So he's a young patient, and he's complaining of binocular horizontal diplopia. So you see in left gaze what you have. Okay, let's go to the right. Right is fine. But in left gaze, you have adduction palsy and abducting nystagmic eye, and nystagmus of the abducting eye. You agree with that? So you think of internuclear ophthalmoplegia. On what side? Which side? Right, okay? Yeah. But I stop on that. But we can, yeah, he has also scoliosis. So, okay, here, just wanted to show you that when you suspect internuclear ophthalmoplegia, you have also to test rapid eye movements. Because here, look at this patient. Okay, I go back. Sorry for that. So here, look at rapid eye movements. Right, left, right. Do you see? Slowed adduction of both eyes. So if you do just the amplitude of eye movement, you don't see that the right eye adduction is involved. But if you do rapid eye movement, you see that both eyes are involved. So he has bilateral internuclear ophthalmoplegia. So test saccades also, it's really clinically useful. And he had normal convergence. So, okay, so it's internuclear ophthalmoplegia. So the lesion is here at the level of the medial longitudinal fasciculus. So you have involvement of adduction when you ask for version coming from the nuclear abducens, the abducens nucleus, but you have normal ocular motor nuclei functioning, and convergence is normal. So you have this dissociation, okay? The first level of dissociation. Okay, another case here. So I'm asking her to look right, saccades. Look left, right, left, smooth pursuit. Okay. It's not easy for her. Oculocephalic reflex. Okay. You saw something? Leftward gaze is not good. It's limited in the adduction of right gaze, and abduction of left gaze is limited. And here, convergence is fine. Okay, she has good convergence. So she can't move her eyes toward the left. Okay, well, she moves a little bit, but it's limited, both eyes to the left. So where the lesion? Abduction nucleus? No. Abducens nucleus. Because it involves saccades, smooth pursuit, vestibular. So all movements are involved. So at the abducens nucleus level, okay? And convergence is preserved. So I show you just here. So the lesion is here, because here converge the saccadic command and the vestibulo-ocular command, or smooth pursuit command, but all movements are involved, so it has to be here. So it was a cavernoma, and you see the finger of the neurosurgeon here, just at the level of a brainstem. That's fine? Abducens nucleus syndrome. Then the next one. And so you always have to test convergence also. So on the right gaze, left gaze, right gaze, left gaze. So you test here saccades. So you have to test smooth pursuit, and you will see it's the same. So right gaze, okay, so it's internuclear ophthalmoplegia on right gaze, and leftward gaze palsy, okay, and the oculocephalic reflex will be the same, okay, and convergence is preserved, that's the same. So here you have the 1.5 syndrome, which means that you have 1.5 syndrome, 1.5, which means you have involvement of the abducens nucleus and the medial longitudinal fasciculus, okay? So the lesion is a little bigger, that's all. And then you will have this ipsilateral gaze palsy and ipsilateral internuclear ophthalmoplegia, so you just have the abducting and nystagmic eye, okay? So we will go further again in the central eye movement. So this guy came and said, I can't look on left. I don't see double, but I can't look on left. Right, I asked him to do saccades to the left. So he's just stuck there. Okay. So he have leftward gaze palsy. So he tries with vertical eye movements, but he can't go to the left. So what is your next step? Let's look at convergence first. Okay. Well, you see it on the movie. Okay, stop that. So just convergence was fine. Okay, so he had this huge palsy of leftward gaze, but convergence. He has normal adduction, so it can be central. Yes. So here, just show you the pursuit. So here, when you do the slow eye movements here, and when you do the oculocephalic reflex, you see that there is normal amplitude of eye movements. Okay? So here, you are on the paramedian reticular formation, PPRF, because it's only leftward saccades that are involved. Is it fine? So you are here. Okay, you are here because the abducens nucleus is working with the other for the other eye movements. Is it fine? So this is a model of horizontal supranuclear palsy. Okay, this is a rare case because usually you have other signs. Let's go further. Or upper. Okay, well, the surgeon did something here. Okay, so ptosis, exodeviation of the left eye, total adduction palsy of the left eye, abduction is fine, going down is not good, and elevation. What's going on? on elevation? So there's no elevation of the left eye, but also, and I don't know if you see, but you have mydriasis. Okay? So he has a left ocular motor palsy with the pupil involvement, but when you test elevation, you have bilateral palsy of elevation. So it's the ocular motor nucleus syndrome, okay? Because you remember you have this innervation of elevation coming from the opposite nucleus going through the ipsilateral nucleus. So at this level, it is the only level where you will have this bilateral involvement of elevation, okay? So, and in this case, as in our patient, there is hypodeviation of the normal eye also. Okay? You follow? Not lost? Okay, this case. I'm asking him, I think I have two more cases. Looking down. Okay, let's go back. Here, looking up, down. Up, down. Okay? Smooth pursuit. Just to show you that slow eye movements are quite normal. And he has just like this slowness of downward vertical saccades. And slowness of saccades is exactly the same as palsy. And you often find that at central level. So this guy has vertical supranuclear palsy, but just specialized on downward saccades. So here he has to get involvement of both this vertical saccadic command at brainstem level, and you see that in some brainstem ischemic infarct. No, it's not. Well, it's part of a Parinaud syndrome, but you don't have always the convergence retraction nystagmus. Yeah. So I should. You're right. I should have showed that. And my last case is quite. Look, here you see normal horizontal movement and upward vertical palsy for saccades, but not for slow eye movements here. Okay, so this time it's the inverse, so he can't do upward saccades, but he can do downward saccades, and he has normal pursuit, normal amplitude of slow eye movements. So in this case, the lesion, so it's a vertical supranuclear gaze palsy. It's also within the Parinaud syndrome, and in this case, it's a lesion of the posterior commissure here. So the lesion is at the level of the commissure, so it's another type of lesion. So just to finish, you add in peripheral diplopia, you have this topographic reasoning, so central versus peripheral, internuclear, nuclear, and supranuclear for both horizontal or vertical eye movements. And thank you for your attention.